build up, not out. Have you noticed that a lot of farmland has been turned into subdivisions? Chances are, if you attend Bonneville High School, you are living in a house on land that used to grow produce. I have heard the argument that the reason Idaho Falls refuses to build up instead of out is because the citizens want to see the mountains, not buildings. But I say our ever growing population is pushing out the farmers. Natural vegetation, wildlife, and soon the mountains will be so covered in houses that they won't be worth looking at. I will first begin by arguing that building up is better for the environment and farmers than building out. USDA's The USDA's National Agricultural Statistics Service estimates the average value for all the cropland in Idaho at $3,400 an acre in 2017. There are 640 acres in 1 square mile. The subdivision I live in has over 200 houses and takes up about 2 square miles of land. 2 square miles is equal to 1,280 acres. Dr. Potato says about 405 pounds of potatoes can be grown on 1 acre of land. 1,280 acres could yield up to 518,400 pounds of potatoes per year. According to Dr. Potato, 1 pound of potatoes in Idaho costs $3.84. That means that the 1,280 acres that makes up my subdivision could be producing $1.9 million in potatoes every year. If every one of the houses in my subdivision cost $200,000, that would be a one-time income for whoever sold the land of about $40 million. I know that seems like a lot more than $1.9 million, but it would take only 21 years for the potatoes to make up that gap, and the developer only makes $400 million once. How many apartments could fit in that same space? Since I am suggesting that people move out of their houses and into apartments, it is only fair that the apartments be comparable to the houses. Let's assume each apartment is 1,500 square feet. If 200 1,500 square foot houses can fit in my subdivision, that is how many apartments can fit on 1 floor of an apartment building. If the apartment building is 10 stories tall, it could contain 2,000 apartments. Fun fact, in the US, a high-rise is an apartment building with a height of at least 7 stories. If every subdivision took up the same amount of space as mine does, 1 apartment building would save 20 square miles of land. And just to tie it all together, let's take another look at some math. If each of the 2,000 apartments sold for $150,000, the owner of the building could make up to $300 million. So now we have 2,000 large apartments on the same amount of space that only fit 200 houses. The owner of the building made $260 million more than he would have off of the 200 houses. And with 20 square miles or 12,800 acres of land now free to grow potatoes, farmers could grow 5.1 million pounds of potatoes each year, which would equal around $19.9 million per year. Now that I've told you how much land could be saved, I'm going to tell you how building up instead of out can help the economy. The more we build out, the farther we have to drive to get to work, the grocery store, and other activities. Many tall apartment buildings also house businesses. If we removed the 200 houses from the first floor of the building, we could replace them with up to 200 businesses. We just saved some more land by moving businesses underneath the housing instead of outside of it. Think of all the fuel we could save when when restaurants, gyms, retail, and grocery stores are just an elevator ride away. And think of how much more money we would spend at those businesses if we weren't funneling it into gas stations and auto repair shops. Another point I'd like to make about living in an apartment building is that it brings the community closer together. It is easy for me to go days without seeing another person. Do you think that's unrealistic? It isn't. When I arrive home with my family, we pull into the garage, close the garage door, and then go inside the house. That leaves no opportunity for any neighbors to approach us. Because we live in the suburbs, everyone has to drive to where they're going. It is not likely that any of us will run into each other and strike up a conversation while in separate cars. In an apartment building, the chances of passing someone in the hallway and making eye contact or saying hello are much greater. Living in an apartment building also makes it easier to stay close to family without living with them. In conclusion, I have stated why building up instead of out is better for the environment by saving land space. It is better for the economy because of convenience and shorter commutes. Finally, building up is better for the community because it brings us closer together. Thank you.